Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to a video where I'm going to be talking about my first impressions of, well, VORKATH. Obviously, it's the release date for VORKATH, and so we're going to be talking about that boss. Now, this is basically just going to be my first initial thoughts. There's not going to be any guide in here or anything like that. Maybe like a quick mention of how a few mechanics work to give my thoughts on it and stuff like that. But otherwise, I'm going to practice a bit more, and then I'll work on a guide once I'm actually able to kill the boss consistently over and over again. Now, VORKATH released with the quest that you have to do to be able to face him. However, this quest is pretty small in the sense that most of it is fighting VORKATH himself in story mode version, and then after that you just need to build a couple of bits of the wall back that he destroys, then a couple of other chores, and you're going to be back to be able to fight VORKATH yourself. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is going to be normal mode. Normal mode itself is actually really interesting, and I really like the idea of how they've done the way the mechanics work in normal mode. So you can compare this kind of to the Arc Glacier, so we're going to mention that every now and again. But the way VORKATH works in normal mode is there's 3 points of interest. The first one is going to disable one of the mechanics, the second one is going to disable the second mechanic, and then the third one is going to put you into the actual fight in normal mode. You can completely ignore deactivating the first and second points of interest, but it won't disable the mechanics. However, it does take a little bit of time to go ahead and deactivate those actual mechanics, so you need to just weigh up, do I want to spend this time going to do that, or do I just want to go fight the boss and have those mechanics there itself? Now, no matter what you choose to do, you will always get a loot chest at the end, so you're still going to get your loot whether you deactivate them or not. So rather than at the Arc Glacier where you turn off mechanics or just enable them and then go in and fight normal mode, and then your drops, like your chance of getting drops is changed, this doesn't work like that. You either do the normal mode fully and have a little bit more difficult fight and save yourself a little bit of time, or you go around and spend a little bit longer killing off the points of interest and then fighting VORKATH with less mechanics to worry about and making the fight easier for you, for someone who's maybe learning PvM or getting a bit better at PvM, but you will spend an extra couple of minutes doing that. So this kind of balances out really well. You don't lose out on any drop rates, but you choose to spend a little bit extra time just to make the fight a bit easier for yourself. I think it's a really good design, and I like the idea of it a lot. It just opens up that option for anyone who just needs to get a kill for Reaper, maybe, can disable those mechanics and just go in and get that. And then, of course, if you're a more experienced PvMer, you can just go ahead directly into the fight, deal with the mechanics, but save yourself maybe like a minute or two on the actual preparation of the fight. Great little design, Jagex. I like it a lot. It's pretty epic. Also, not to mention, the environment looks absolutely incredible. It just looks insane. It's beautiful. Very quick interruption to the video to talk about some merch that I've just dropped for you guys to look at if you're interested, that you'll be able to find a link for in the description. This is the first ever merch item I've done, and it is a desk lamp that is RGB and looks just like your favorite potions. You can change the color to be whatever potion version you want, and it has a label on it that you can write what potion it is, or you can just leave it blank, but I've also signed that myself as a thank you to you guys for ordering it. And we're also throwing in a free plate that says connection lost on it that we've all seen far too many times. It's a little bit of a fun thing extra to have with it. The merch will be available for only 1 month, and at the end we'll be picking one person who bought it and sending them a full RuneScape name light, as you can see here. Oh, and also £2 of every sale is going to be going to a charity that's being decided by you guys on a community post. If you're interested, do check it out. It supports the channel a ton and you can get yourself something cool. Sorry for interrupting the video, but I guess this is better than like a mobile game ad. But with that being said, let's get back to it. So with that being said, now we can move actually into the boss fight and talk about that. In normal mode, you're going to have a few different mechanics you have to pay attention to, and you can do this between 1 in a solo or up to 10 people in your group. And the boss scales with every single person that joins. He has more health, and the mechanics work a little bit more hectically because everybody will get one of the mechanics when it does happen. So one thing to know about this fight is VORKATH hits you with magic damage and Zimorgel hits you with necromancy damage. So you kind of have to either choose your poison or protect from one of them or the other. I found personally that it's better to protect from necromancy and then just use defensives to deal with VORKATH. It seems a lot better, but this may change once people figure out more stuff. So first of all, we have 2 different units hitting you at the same time using different combat styles. It's pretty interesting. One of the mechanics that you're going to see is an ice breath from VORKATH, which will just do like AoE damage, I guess. Anyone in front of it is going to take damage from it. And then another one that you're going to see is there'll be like a X of smoke along the ground somewhere, wherever you're stood, and you have to move off of this. If you don't move off of it, then big bones will come out of the ground and do damage to you. And these can absolutely be deadly as hell. So you want to make sure you get off this by using like bladed dive or surge, or just walking off it if you're okay to do that. And that's pretty much it for that mechanic. However, in a group, this goes absolutely nuts. As you can see on screen here, Everybody gets it, and it can cause a little bit of lag, which is unfortunate. One of the other mechanics you're going to see is Vorkath will raise up into the air, and then blue waves of ice will go towards your character. Now, you can either go backwards and avoid this from just the actual range of the mechanic, or you can use Protect from Magic and Devotion to just block the damage, or once the actual initial waves have come through, you can go towards Vorkath where it's safer, and you can avoid it that way as well. So there's a few different ways you can deal with this mechanic, which I like a lot, because it's going to allow you to make the decision as you need to. You'll also have to deal with ads or trash mobs, I suppose, whichever you want to call them, that are going to put a shield on Vorkath to stop him from taking as much damage, or they're going to heal him as well. So a red ghost is going to heal him, and then there's another one that's going to be doing a shield on him, so you'll have to take them down to be able to continue dealing as much damage as you can to the actual bosses. Eventually, once you've done enough damage, Vorkath is going to fly off into the air, and you have to use the extra action button to knock him out of the sky and basically stop him from murdering you with a big, massive AoE attack, which you can reduce the damage with Devotion and Reflect and all that sort of stuff, so it's not an insta-kill, but it is a lot of damage. Your goal at this point is to kill off Zamoragal while Vorkath is in the air, because when Vorkath is down, Zamoragal has a shield taking a massive amount of reduced damage. And so you need to DPS Zamoragal until you knock Vorkath back out of the air, and then you go back to killing Vorkath until he's completely dead, and then you go back to killing Zamoragal at the end of the fight. However, along the way, you're also going to run into poison pools and acid pools or whatever it is all over the floor, and you've got to completely avoid this, because if you stand in it, you're going to take a ton of damage and can die very quickly. So overall, the fight comes with a lot of positioning, a lot of like using your DPS to make sure you get through stuff quickly enough, and also using your defensives and understanding how to deal with mechanics properly. You have to actually pay attention to the fight and do it properly. You can't just soul split and ignore the boss completely. You will have to be reacting to some stuff, which is definitely good. I think this is nice, especially considering how strong Necromancy is. That being said, I would say normal mode is absolutely acquirable for the majority of players with practice, of course. Some of you guys are probably throwing yourselves at it and struggling a lot, but you will get there. Just keep practicing, and I'll have a guide out at some point soon. I think the boss fight itself aesthetically looks insanely good. I like it a lot. It looks really, really nice. And also, I think the design of it is just really good. I'm happy with this boss overall in terms of design and how it like actually feels to do it. And I really like the way that you can go in a solo and then upwards, and it scales really nicely, and everybody gets their own loot and stuff. I think Jagex have hit the nail on the head of this, absolutely. So, my first impressions of hard mode. Man, it's freaking hard. Holy crap. It is hard as hell. I just did like a 5-hour attempt at killing him, like just non-stop, maybe 4 or 5 hours. I got one solo mode kill. One in that whole time. And then when I even got that one, I couldn't get any more after that because I was just drained and tired as crap. And you can make mistakes very quickly, and one mistake can absolutely be the death of you. Hard mode is hard, and I love it. It is so good that this boss is hard to do. RuneScape needs a boss that is difficult to do, a hard mode that is actually hard. It does need this because it needs something for people to challenge themselves to work towards. If you can't do hard mode right now, don't panic, because there's going to be something else I'm going to talk about with this, about the rewards and stuff very soon. But hard mode is pretty much the same fight as normal mode, same mechanics, all this sort of stuff. He just hits you a hell of a lot harder. The mechanics are the same. He's just going to hit you way harder, and you have to deal with it with a lot more defensives, and you just can't screw up basically. The fight's going to be more dragged out, your mistakes are going to be more punishing, and then there is one mechanic that can hit you for 10k through prayer if you are praying the wrong thing and not using a defensive and stuff, so you have to keep on top of that as well. It is difficult, it's very hard, you can get very close to the end of it and then just you're dead because you made one mistake, and I think this is fine. I like knowing that for the next probably week or 2 weeks, I am going to be throwing myself at this boss, dying over and over again, and having to actually learn something new and deal with the new mechanics and stuff, and like actually think about it and stuff. It's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it a lot, and I cannot wait to do so. So overall, for the fight's design, the way that mechanics work, the way that the boss fight goes and how it looks and everything like that, I think is incredibly good. I am so happy with it, and I'm going to be doing it a lot. I'm going to be killing it a lot. It's a lot of fun. Then we move on to the drop system. This is probably the only thing that confuses me a little bit. Maybe I'm missing something here, and of course this could change at any point because it's only day one, right? This is my first impressions, so if I'm wrong about anything here, then tell me in the comments. It is what it is. You can tell me. I don't care. It's fine. But the drops seem a little bit confusing. Now, I'm happy that most of the drops, in fact, maybe all the drops, are available in normal mode, I do believe, which is good because it means that everybody has access to them. So from this, I can only really assume that hard mode just has better drop rates for this. But right now it kind of feels like there's not a whole lot of reason for us to do hard mode. It's just kind of how it seems. This could just be because hard mode feels way more difficult to do right now, and in a few days we may have figured out how to do it a lot easier and it may be absolutely worth it. However, the reason that it feels a little bit underwhelming drops wise to do hard mode instead of normal mode is because you're going to be getting spikes to improve your actual armor and upgrade the armor along the way, right? But you will get those from normal mode and hard mode. Those are the most valuable drops right now in terms of consistency, because they're going to be like, I think about 7 to 9 million GP from the last time I checked. And you do need quite a lot to actually make the armor. However, there is a codex, which is, I believe, 600 mil when I bought mine. I'll put the screenshot on screen of how much I paid for it. And this is on day one, which is actually quite cheap for a day one drop. Very cheap, in fact. Now, this is accessible again from normal mode and from hard mode, which is good again for accessibility to the boss, but it does come with a few problems. Because it is in normal mode and in hard mode, the value is going to stay rather low. But also what the codex does is it reduces the target's armor rating. The way enemies' armor rating works in RuneScape is if they have a lower armor rating, then you have a higher accuracy rate. You can hit them more often. You're not going to deal more damage to them, but you are going to hit them more often, which does translate to more damage. But most of the bosses right now do actually have 100% accuracy, as does Vorkath. So at Vorkath, this doesn't actually do anything. At places like Telos, though, I think AOD as well, it could be super useful in increasing your actual accuracy, and Nex as well, to make you do more damage. So at places like that, this is going to be fine. But we kind of blew those bosses out of the world anyway with Necromancy as it already was. So the value of this codex, I don't know how high it's going to stay, how low it's going to stay. But if the rates are going to be the difference between hard mode and normal mode, and that's like the reason to do it, if the codex is pretty cheap, then there's not going to be much reason to put yourself through hard mode unless the drop rate is really, really good. But if the drop rate is really, really good, then the codex will drop even more. And so you see where I'm going. Now, I don't know if the cosmetics that are going to go on the boss's table afterwards are going to be tradable at that point. It would be kind of cool if they were. I think that would actually be a valuable drop at that point, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I really don't know. So hopefully there is more reason to keep doing hard mode, because I do think the boss, I love the boss itself. Like, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy the mechanics, I enjoy the design, and I will do it because it's fun. You know, like I'll probably keep doing it just because it's fun. But if you've done it 50 or 100 times and you've got the other unlock and whatnot, the reason to go and do it may not be quite there. If you're looking for GP, which most of the people doing PVM are, then you may as well go do Racial for a minute kill, minute 20 kill, whatever. And it's a hell of a lot easier, and you're using less resources as well. So overall, this is my first impressions, like in a generic statement. The boss, the design, the way it works, the fight, I enjoyed a hell of a lot. And I'm going to go back and do some more right after I finish editing this video. I love it. I think they've done a really good job of it. The drops seem a little bit weird though. We don't have drop rates or anything yet, so don't get me wrong, it could be when it comes out that we're like, this makes total sense. Like, this makes sense. I could be completely wrong. But without the drop rates right now, it just feels, why don't we just farm the normal mode? Because we can get the spikes from there, we can get like everything from normal mode, and it's a lot easier, and you don't use anywhere near as much resources. Then why should we go and do hard mode? I like how difficult hard mode is. I think it's great. I really do. Like, I've killed it once in all this time, and I'm probably going to go die and spend another few hours doing like 2 kills or something. Fine by me. Love it. Great. Love the challenge. But that's my thoughts overall. That's the only concerns I really have, is the drops and the demand for people to go and do it. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Vorkath, your experiences so far, whether you had a positive engagement with it, a negative engagement with it, or just what you're thinking so far overall. With all that being said, one quick reminder to check out the merch if you were interested and maybe wanted to watch the video first. Go and check the link in the description. But otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.